Hey, here we are, all together at WonderCon. And this is, it's good to see all you guys. This is actually my first WonderCon since 2006, which makes it my first one since it moved to Anaheim. And it doesn't look the way I pictured it at all, somehow. I don't see any palm trees or anything.
It's a lot cozier. Oh, I could show you some palm trees, but it's dark. It's a lot cozier, I'll say that.
Well, that's true. Yeah. And welcome, just a quick welcome to everyone at home streaming this. My name is Stuart Moore. I handle publishing operations for AHOY Comics, and I also write various projects, including Captain Ginger, a book about cats in space. I tend to like to keep the AHOY panels kind of fast and loose. I'll do a little introduction to AHOY for newcomers, but first let's have the panelists introduce themselves. Sarah, do you want to start?
Hi, I'm Sarah Litt. I am AHOY's editor at large. I had the great pleasure of editing Mark Russell's Billionaire Island and Mariah McCourt's Ash and Thorn. Sorry, it's late. I don't know what I'm talking about. And the upcoming book from Eric Palicki that we will discuss shortly. I want to save the surprise.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just going to go down the gallery unless somebody jumps in. Liana, you want to go next?
Hi, everyone. I'm Liana Kangas, full-time comic artist and part-time writer, I guess. And I am doing a series of covers at AHOY. And I am lucky to know Sarah Litt, who I've worked with before previously, one of my favorites, and actually Eric as well. So,
okay, well, we'll hand it to Eric from there.
Hi, I'm Eric as well. No, I'm sorry. I'm Eric Palicki, comics writer. I've previously worked at Marvel, Black Mask, A Wave Blue World, Scout Comics, and I'm really excited that to be talking about my first AHOY comic book today.
Excellent. Paul?
Hi, I'm Paul Constant. I have written a number of comics for AHOY. I wrote some backup features in The Wrong Earth. I wrote some stories in Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror, and my comic Planet of the Nerds that I did with Alan Robinson is in collected format from AHOY now.
Okay, Mark?
I'm Mark Russell. I'm the writer of Second Coming and Billionaire Island for AHOY. I also do the monster serial stories for the Edgar Allan Poe Snifter of Terror.
And that brings us to Tom Peyer.
Hi, I'm Tom Peyer, editor-in-chief of AHOY Comics and writer. I've written a bunch of stuff like The Wrong Earth is coming up currently, The Wrong Earth Night and Day, and Penultimate. And I was happy to edit Mark Russell's Second Coming and Paul's Planet of the Nerds.
Excellent. Okay, well, we'll get to the, we'll have the panelists describe their new projects soon. But first, normally I would ask for a show of hands to see how many people in the audience are already familiar with AHOY Comics, but I cannot see anyone's hands. So let's just cover the bases really quickly. And I have a few illustrations here. AHOY Comics was launched in 2018 with a simple mandate to make comics that are both substantial and in one way or another funny. And that second requirement seems more vital than ever because we all kind of could use a laugh these days. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up a few graphics while I talk. From the beginning, we called the single issues comic book magazines because they not only feature, hold on a second, they not only feature comic book stories, but also they're filled with prose and illustrated back matter in addition to the main stories. And that in turn led to our company slogan, which is
Oh, should we do a drum roll? There we go.
Expect there. So okay, so AHOY's first big hit, oh, I gotta pull this one up now. AHOY's first big hit was The Wrong Earth, which, sorry, these graphics keep taking over my screen, which was created by Tom Peyer and Jamal Igle. It's received praise both in mainstream review outlets and from comic book luminaries like Mark Waid and Mark Miller. And we have come full circle with as a publisher right now, because right now we are serializing the second series of Wrong Earth, which is called Wrong Earth Night and Day. And I have a little detail from one of the covers to show you there. So with that, I want to turn this over to Tom to talk about the Wrong Earth a little bit, and particularly both the old series and the new. Tom, you want to take that for a little bit?
Sure. The Wrong Earth is about two masked crime fighters from two different parallel Earths. And one of the Earths is like old-fashioned 40s, 50s, 60s comic books. And where everyone's saluting the flag and being a Boy Scout. And you're a fine, upstanding crime fighter who works with the authorities. And then the other Earth, Earth Omega, is a place based on 80s, 90s comics till today, where the same hero is a ultra-violent vigilante who sticks it to the man and is pursued by police. So in the first series of Wrong Earth, what happened was that they got trapped in each other's Earths. And we're trying to get along in societies that they were just not made for at all. And the current series, they finds the two of them on the same Earth, trying to work together, but they're such opposites that it looks really hopeless. And Jamal Eigel's art by Juan Castro on this series is really amazing. And the second series is better than the first in that regard. He's got a lot of enthusiasm for the project. It was Jamal who came up with using dragonflies for Dragonfly Man and the Dragonfly. They were the heroes I should have named a minute ago. And he's just a mighty contributor to this.
Great. And since we're with you, Tom, you are also the editor of the series Happy Hour, which is running right now, and which we've gotten a very nice reaction to. I can show a little detail from one of the covers here for a minute. Do you want to share? Do you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, it's by Peter Milligan and Michael Montanat. Peter's a guy I've worked with since our days at Vertigo a million years ago. But it's a wonderful series, and it looks terrific, as you saw from that cover, about near future America, where it's illegal to be sad, and the punishment is just brutal. And so we have to take it and act happy about it too, of course. So Kim and Jerry, who we saw burned at the stake on those covers, are two people who can't accept this, and they go on the run from society that wants to put them in a readjustment center and make them happy all the time through torture. And so this is their adventures on the run and on the lam, and desperately trying not to make each other happy.
Yeah, I think it's hitting a little bit of a nerve. Actually, we seem to be getting a good response to it.
I think it is. The timing was.
A lot of people are trying to be happy right now. And they don't feel it. Okay, let's see. Let's shift gears and tease a few upcoming projects, including the one that Sarah was talking about earlier. This summer, we will be launching a new horror series that several people on the panel are involved with. I am forbidden by the laws of Cthulhu and man to show you very much of the yet. However, I have a little snippet from the interior here, and I'll have a little piece of Liana's cover later. So Eric, this is your baby. Do you want to tell us a little about this new book? You can reveal the title if you want.
Sure. Awesome. So this new book is Blacksmith. It is the story of a Los Angeles private detective who is hired to find 30 stolen bullets, which may or may not have been cast from the silver paid to Judas. And what follows is our main character, Strummer Mercado, and I teased her a little bit on my Twitter feed at the end of last year. she's forced to delve into Los Angeles's seedy supernatural underbelly for the first time in years, and finds herself drawn back to a life that she had tried very hard to walk away from. If you've ever wondered, I'm of two minds about high concept pitches, but if you've ever wondered what the Maltese Falcon would look like if it starred Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this is sort of in that ballpark.
Okay. I have a little, Liana is doing the covers, and I have a little detail here of her first one. Again, I've been asked not to reveal the whole thing yet, but that's a pretty stunning little color palette there, I think. Liana, do you want to say anything about your approach to this?
Yeah, Sarah and I, because we know each other so well, I was able to just be like, throw everything at me. What do you want? And her words were, and correct me if I'm wrong, pulp, like old, like novel illustrations, but like my neon colors. And I was like, oh yeah, just give me the job I've always wanted. Thank you. So
That's great.
I love drawing the characters a lot too. Reading Eric's scripts was awesome, and I can tell they both work really well together.
Oh.
Great. Sarah, do you want to add anything? You put this team together, I think.
Well, I mean, Eric I had wanted to work with Eric for quite some time, and this sort of fit into Ahoy's Ovia, as it were. And with Liana, I know I can just be like, all right, get weird with it. And she will absolutely give me exactly what I need from her. Just be like, go do your thing. This is what it's about. Have fun, get weird. And that's what we got. The covers are amazing. I also, not that we can show the logo yet, but she did the logos, which are exactly what I saw in my head. So, I mean, everybody on the team, and Wendell Cavalcanti, whose name I think I probably mispronounced, did the interiors, and he is doing a phenomenal job. He did a phenomenal job.
Good.
Yeah, I wish I could show more of that. It really is nice work. But soon we'll be unveiling more of that in the weeks to come. It is this is the Blacksmith is the lead book of our next wave of titles, and keeping on with that, I want to turn to Paul Constant for a minute. Paul, as you kind of talked about a little of this, but you've been with Ahoy right from the beginning.
That's true.
Some very clever backup stories in the first series of The Wrong Earth, and Planet of the Nerds, your first series with us. I think I've got a little thing here. That got rave reviews and is in development at Paramount as a film, I believe.
That's right, Paramount. Yeah.
Now, one of the other projects you have experimented with at Ahoy is due for a comeback in a big way. And again, it's a little early to talk about it too much right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I have I have a slice of a cover here that will give it away to anyone who's seen the character before. Do you want to tease this one a little bit?
Yeah, so this handsome fellow is Melville Snelson, and he appeared in the backup stories to the great Ahoy series #Danger. And his whole shtick was he's a stand-up comedian who almost made it in the 90s and may or may not have made out with Janine Garofalo once at a party. And he had his big shot. He filmed a pilot and he just failed miserably. And so he's bitter. And in the backup stories, he started flirting with the alt-right a little bit. And so you don't need to read any of that to read the upcoming series, which I'm very excited about. All you have to know is that he is a middle-aged white dude who's been canceled, whatever that means, and he's struggling with that. And really, it's sort of a continuation of the themes where we're doing satire of this whole sort of I guess kind of like, you remember those Comicsgate yahoos who were around in the industry a couple of years ago? The sort of mediocre white men who, rather than try to get better at their jobs, just decide to blame the world and become really embittered. So it's a satire of that. There's a lot of stuff about the falsehoods of cancel culture, and we make fun of podcasting. It somehow feels even more timely now than it did when I was writing it last year, with Fox News spending a whole morning this week talking about how the Muppet Show has content warnings and how that's cancel culture somehow. But anyway, the real reason to read this book is Fred Harper is back on art, and Fred has been on the character from the very beginning. He's an amazing caricaturist, and he does some really stunning comics work. I feel like when Chris Claremont was doing New Mutants, and he was like, okay, so it's X-Men and Muppet Babies, and then Bill Sienkiewicz comes on, and all of a sudden he's making art, and you have to sort of live up to the artist, and I'm really experiencing that with Fred. He's doing some gorgeous work that I think will knock everyone's socks off.
Great, wow. Snelson, ever since the back features, has been a bit of a favorite of ours around the office, I think, and it's nice to you're definitely pushing things further in this. I'm looking forward to that.
That's the hope.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to Mark Russell and Second Coming, which we were very fortunate enough to pick up last year. The first series was very, very well received, and now we have a second book running with the subtitle "Only Begotten Son." Here's a detail of one of the covers showing superhero Sunstar and his roommate Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Mark, do you want to say anything about that? You have any insights to share?
Yeah, I've got a few insights about the title. But yeah, it's called Only Begotten Son, the second one, because it's largely about how what we do is try to make up for the failures of the past. And that's what I think we expect our children to do in a lot of cases, is to make up for our failures in the world that we've created. And the series in general is really about failures of institutions, as most of my work is. It's about Jesus Christ coming back after 2,000 years to be appalled to find out what has happened to his legacy, what people have done with his teachings, largely because they've been commercialized and been used to serve the very institutions, the very empires he came to Earth to subvert. And also Sunstar, the superhero, who has come to be sort of disillusioned with how effective, super strength and being able to like drop kick somebody into a volcano are actually solving the real problems of the world, how limited those are. And it's really about them sort of coming to this realization together that in a lot of ways their legacies have failed, and then trying to fix that, trying to repair their legacies, giving themselves a second chance to do over what the world got wrong from their approaches to healing the world the first time.
Wow, yeah, and the first issue, I think we have the first two issues out as we're recording this, and the first issue is largely the origin of Sunstar, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever read.
You might recognize a certain other origin story. It's sort of a spoof on sort of the Superman origin story. Because
not at all.
Yeah,
nothing like that.
Didn't catch the subtle nuance. But yeah, in a lot of ways, that's what the Sunstar storyline is. It's a commentary on how superheroes sort of fetishize violence as a solution, when in fact most of the problems in the world cannot be solved with violence. Cannot be even, in the story, Sunstar, has his grandmother who is succumbing to dementia, and she's on the verge of getting kicked out of her retirement home because of her dementia. And he's got he can fly at the speed of light. He can, punch a hole through anything, but he can't like keep his grandmother in like a home where she gets the care she needed. And so it's largely about how, you know, reliance upon like violent or physical force as a solution creates these huge blind spots for us as a culture, where we ignore all the other tools in the box that could actually deal with the problems we actually have.
Yeah, that was obviously a big theme of the first series as well. It was the limitations of like the superhero's toolbox for solving problems.
How really like a single, you know, dedicated, smart city council person would actually be better for you than like having the Justice League at your back.
That's great. And you're still working on the you've done several of these several stories in a series we call the Serial Monsters for the Edgar Allan Poe anthologies that we publish, and with Peter Snyberg, and that's continuing, right?
Yeah, there's a few more of those before the story is complete. But yeah, I sort of describe that as like Count Chocula meets Game of Thrones, where it's, you know, this sort of gothic horror story about revenge and betrayal, but played out with like the serial mascots from like the you know, Frankenberry and Wooberry and the Count Chocula serials, among other serials. There's a lot of cameos. Pretty much any serial mascot you can imagine in the last 30 years makes some sort of appearance in this series. But that will continue. I think there's going to be like a total of 9 of them.
And you're also thinking about more Billionaire Island, right?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea for another series of Billionaire Island, and I think I'm not ready to start working on it yet, but I'm pretty certain it's going to happen.
Excellent. All right. Well, Tom, am I missing any projects we should push, or anything we should cover before we just sort of open it up to general discussion?
Upcoming, no, you're not missing anything.
Okay, I guess we're coming near the end of the run of Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Blood, and that's gone nicely for us. That's been a good series.
Yeah, it's really fun to work on, particularly since Poe can't pick on us back or ask for money or try to approve anything. We can do whatever we want to him because he's so good.
Yes. All right. Well, I don't. That's pretty much the end of my my prepared program. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to just say about what they're working on, or questions for the other panelists? Follow up on anything?
I want to shout out to Penultiman, which just ended.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an amazing series that you wrote, Tom. I really loved it. I was always super excited for the next issue. So good work on that.
Thanks a lot, Paul. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Penultiman was that'll be collected in May, I think, and that's that'll be our that's a good segue actually. That'll be our next trade paperback. And then we'll have a clutch of them in September, because we're ramping up for a big announcement about that. That may even be out by the time this airs. But we're kind of excited about that. We're sort of looking forward to bringing our trade paperback program to the next level. But Penultiman is about the next to the last stage in human evolution, and he's a superhero who can't stop hating himself, right, Tom?
That's right, because he's from a future time where everybody else is of the last stage of human evolution. So they look upon him as a just this bestial, savage throwback. And in the end, they exile him to our time, because they know that he'll do well here because he's better than we are, bad as he is. And so he comes here and he's just like a beloved superhero, really charming and handsome and wonderful, and it's just breathtaking to everybody. But deep down, he really hates his own guts for not being good enough to stay in his hometown. So, and then this series is about, he has an android assistant that he built who decides that he's got to straighten out Penultiman's life in his head. He decides he has to cure him of his self-loathing. So a lot of it's about, can that be done? Can an android cure a superhero? Can a sidekick do it? Can anybody cure anybody?
It's a great little series, and it's got really nice art by Alan Robinson, who also drew Planet of the Nerds. So.
Beautiful, beautiful. He's wonderful because his characters are so expressive, and without changing his style at all, he can go from comedy to tragedy like a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. You're exploring superheroes from a somewhat different angle than Mark is in Second Coming, because you're more looking at it in terms of a this may be way off base, correct me, but I think you're looking at it almost on more of a level of personal neurosis, where the character sort of penultimate sort of comes to this world and to his role in life just already damaged by what's happened to him in his own home time period.
Yeah. How many people in your life have you envied only to find out when you get to know them better that they're just miserable? I wish that were more of a rare occurrence.
Well, that's cool. Feel free to jump in and ask each other questions or anything you like. As I say, I probably didn't prepare enough questions. So,
Liana, what other covers are you working on?
Right now, I have I finished a Forgotten Home cover a while back. I just had a Galarian, which is Scout Comics cover just recently released yesterday for the Kickstarter. And I gave my full attention to Sarah and Eric and the team because it's my first series of covers. So I'm really excited, and I didn't want to overwork myself. And yeah, I'm really excited to join Ahoy. And I was going to say, as an outsider kind of, I was going to say how excited I am to see like the progress of Ahoy, especially with Sarah being on and me previously knowing her and everything, because I had only ever purchased Second Coming off the shelf in Challengers when it came out. I guess I was like there the weekend that it came out, and I pre-ordered Ash and Thorn and I picked up Billionaire Island, but it's just really cool to see, like, I'm typically a shelf shopper. So today actually I went to the shop and I saw Happy Hour and I was like, that's a book. I'm really excited to see what that's about. For this week's cover is very interesting. So covers are usually what catch me, which is why I'm so excited, and I love drawing covers. And to be able to work with, obviously, because I know Sarah and Eric so well, it's a lot more fun. I can bounce ideas off both of them, and it's a lot more intimate experience, I guess, in creating the covers versus being commissioned or like, you know, work for hire cover in a typical sense. So I just wanted to say happy to be here, especially with Ahoy, and I'm glad to join the team. So really
yeah, well,
excited.
you're in good company because Ahoy has just done an amazing job at like creating really evocative covers for all their projects, I think, which is so vital because there's so many great comics out there and there's so much competing for people's attention that really, you know, you can't even count on people opening your comic to give it a shot unless the cover sort of catches their eye as they're walking past.
Yeah.
There's just so much good stuff available out there. The covers are really critical for even giving somebody to just give you the time of day.
Yeah, and I love that it's a totally different range of different art styles too, and it's not just a house style, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, before I even knew Sarah was on Ash and Thorn, I was like, oh, I want that immediately because I know Sue Lee and I love Sue Lee's work. So, yeah, what you were saying, that's why I picked up Billionaire Island too, because I just really liked the cover, and I was like, all right, let's go.
I'm going to share that Happy Hour cover, but I want to give a warning to the audience first.
Yeah.
There it is.
Like you're warning simultaneous
Yeah.
with the cover. So
They need to sell
Look
that in a
away.
brown paper bag.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great marketing right there.
Yeah, good luck walking by that cover.
That's great. Yeah, I think we do put a lot of work into the covers. The initial round of logos was all done by Todd Klein, I remember, who's one of the best in the business. We've had I think we've had pretty good. Well, we've had good luck. It really does come down to that old that old advice that you hire the right people and let them do what they do, I think, as much as anything.
Absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
I mean,
love
that's
that everyone's
pretty much
nodding
my
their head.
theory is, like I said, just get weird with it, do
Mhm.
whatever. If it's awful, then we'll sort it out. We'll sort it out afterward.
Yep. Perfect.
This is why we're going to work together for the rest of my career. That's great.
Well, I should also say, like, we, like everyone else in the comics industry, we at Ahoy had to sort of sit down and figure out how to proceed when the pandemic hit. And fortunately, we had all the resources we need. And a lot of that comes down to our publisher, Hart Seeley, who we were able to just continue and keep developing new projects and keep projects coming out. So I think we're going into 2021 in a pretty good position in general.
That's huge.
Yeah, Hart was great. There was no pencils down. There was no thought of it. There was no thought of making people not work.
Mm-hmm.
We were a little, we had to knock back some things. But people kept working, and it was great.
Yeah, we did have to, obviously we had to change schedules around because Diamond actually wasn't shipping books for a little while, and that created a little backup. Also, we did push a few launches back to later in 2021, just hoping more stores will be open, hoping people will be able to get around to them a little more, and fingers crossed about all that. There's some encouraging news these days. Okay. Let me just think. Tom, do you have anything else in development you wanna mention, or anything you're working on?
Nothing that we've announced. There will be more when this series of Wrong Earth ends. You will not have seen the last of it. That much we know. I'm already working on some more stuff with some other people and some other writers. So.
I think that's true of Second Coming as well, right? That's planned to run for a while.
That's my hope. I've got at least 4 series in my mind for it. I mean, as long as they'll tolerate them, I'll keep writing them. I think for foreseeable future.
Trying to get you to do more than 4. We love it.
And we have to do at least one more Billionaire Island because I do keep giving it a different subtitle every single time I talk about it.
What's the latest one?
I'm gonna go with Return of the Island or possibly Revenge of the Island. I'm not sure, but every time I talk about it, it has a
How about the
new
Curse
name.
When inflation strikes. Yeah.
Did you say Curse of
Curse of
Curse
Business
of-
Dog.
Yeah, I like
I
that.
love Business Dog. I have to say, I mean, I have edited many books, but Business Dog is easily one of my top favorite characters.
Yeah, he should have his own book.
Well,
At
not
least give
to
Business Dog a one-shot.
not to give away too much, but he becomes like the centerpiece of a cult in the second volume of Billionaire Island.
That's
Central figure.
I mean, I feel like Ahoy gives a lot of airtime to cats, which I saw your little guy there floating around.
He just
Eric, but,
he just
some
wanted
of
to.
us-
He's Captain Ginger #1 fan, so he wanted to stop by and say
Yeah.
Oh
hello.
my gosh.
cool.
some of us cannot be in the same room as cats, so I feel like we need to give Business Dog his due.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, do you want to tell people who Business Dog is, who haven't read it?
Yeah, I suppose I should probably explain that.
Sorry, everybody's read Billionaire Island.
Yeah, Business Dog is the world's richest mammal in the world of Billionaire Island. He's a dog, as you might have guessed from the name. He inherited an enormous amount of wealth from his owner, who died and left him, billions of dollars, which he then invested through the unique strategy of his butler laying out different bowls of dog food with the names of corporations on them. And then whichever bowl Business Dog would eat out of that morning would be what they would invest in that day. And this proved to be an enormously successful strategy. And so a lot of people will follow up, like whatever Business Dog invests in, all the smart money then follows. People are investing in the same stocks that Business Dog. So he really is kind of like controlling the market in a way. Whatever bowl that Business Dog eats out of their stock is going to skyrocket. because all the investors following Business Dog's lead and investing, because he's got this unbelievable track record. It really was kind of based upon this article I read about how money managers and hedge fund managers underperform the market, meaning that if you were to just invest at random, you would have a better batting average with your money than giving your money to these people who make billions of dollars, like investing your money for you. And so I thought, well, if that's the case, why not just have a dog, choose which stocks to invest in? And he would be the best hedge fund manager in the world. And so that's sort of the world the reality I've created for Billionaire Island, where Business Dog is not only the richest mammal in the world, but sort of the keenest business mind as well, because he's not smart enough to be incompetent.
Yeah.
And he's a dog too that you can put 5 bowls of food in front of him and he'll only eat one, which
is
pretty undog-like.
That is also true.
I have somehow trained my dog to not eat the second bowl so the other dog actually gets to eat. So
wow, that's impressive.
If she can do it, maybe Business Dog can do it.
Yeah, all right. I believe it now, Mark.
My cat is unusually absent. He's usually sacked out on the couch behind me, but I don't know. I guess he doesn't want to go to the con. Doesn't have a badge.
Gonna show up in cosplay as Captain Ginger before it's over.
I was going to mention one thing about Blacksmith that's interesting is aside arguably from Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Terror, it's sort of the first horror book we've done, and it's kind of a mix of genres, right? It's sort of it's partly it's almost like a police procedural in a way, or a crime story, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's I really wanted to do sort of a pulpy noir detective story, but with, some supernatural elements. And while I really, as a writer, enjoy all of those trappings of horror, like I don't necessarily come to horror for the jump scares. So playing in that sort of a supernatural environment is more interesting to me than doing a slasher story. So this kind of did allow us to do the best of both worlds, as you said.
Yeah, and I think
suspense is great.
Yeah, and I think that this really sort of the book itself is very noir, and it really hits, I think, more on this sort of like gumshoey detective, novels or books of the 70s that than horror necessarily. I think it's got more of a sort of supernatural kind of detective-y vibe to it.
And I want to, thanks to Sarah for picking up where I left off, and completely failed to mention the rest of the creative team. Wendell Cavalcanti is a fantastic artist on this book, and he and I have been working together on and off for a decade doing web comics and other projects, and it's nice to be able to put him in front of an audience that at Ahoy. I'm really excited for the world at large to see Wendell's work. It's been super great to work with Sarah as an editor. The book is better for her being part of it. And then of course, Liana is someone that, I adore as a human being and also as a cover artist. And I'm just, Sarah and Liana cooked up these covers with minimal input from me, and it's just amazing how well they work. And I'm really excited for people to see them and hopefully keep up with that track record of amazing covers on Ahoy books.
Yeah, Wendell's art really struck me. He's got a really good sense of place, but he's also got a real sense of fashion. I noticed, like, his characters are very interestingly, like they're all really well sketched out. You really get a sense of who they are from their clothes and
the time period. It's very consistent, which is great. Seeing the pages and like reading the script, just immediately being transported, even with the black and white, so. Also back at you, Palicki.
No.
Well,
I'm jealous of the title. The title is genius. I can't believe I've never seen that done before.
We should say it's Black_S Myth, MYTH, because we don't have the logo up. So Blacksmith, yes.
Very clever.
Thank you.
Well, we're probably coming a little close to the end of our time. Maybe we should go down the line and tell everyone anything else you're working on and where they can find you, websites, that sort of thing. Paul, you're biggest on my screen right now. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Paul Constant, PaulConstant, and you can find me online at paulconstant.com, where I put up all of my writings. I do writing about politics. I do book reviews. I have a column where I profile Seattle area bookstores and some comic book stores, and you can find all that at paulconstant.com.
Hey, Paul, are you in Seattle?
I am. Are you?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm in West Seattle. We'll have to grab a beer when the world starts turning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool.
Well, great. Eric, do you want to go next?
Sure. I am on all of the socials at Eric Palicki. I spend most of my time proportionally on Twitter. Yeah. And then I have a website, ericpalicki.com, which is woefully under-updated.
Most of them are, I find. Liana?
You can also find me on Twitter. Lots of time spent there. I typically try to update everybody there what I'm working on, covers. I'm working on a graphic novel right now that's not announced. And I love doing covers. So that's a fun thing. You can find most of the ones that I've done on my website at lianakangas.com. I also occasionally stream doing art on my Twitch channel, and you can see like behind the scenes stuff on my Patreon too, which is really fun. I try to cultivate like a good comics community for anybody that's like trying to break into comics or just generally enjoys it and just likes being a part of the whole stuff that we're missing right now with cons and connections. So yeah, you could always find me there on Twitter and like, you know, find all my other stuff at Liana Kangas.
Hey, Liana, do you have a podcast?
Oh yeah. Speaking of happy hour.
Do you?
I'm middle-aged. I have, one of those things. I have a podcast. It's been kind of on drunk history, but it's based of comics. So we do everything fiction and nonfiction related in comics, kind of like that drunk history format where we have a beverage. And, some people that don't drink are also on our podcast as well. But we try to review a topic usually in 30 minutes. And we've had some great guests on, like Michael Conrad and Corey McCreary and a couple other fun people, but we're still getting up and running. So we're always looking for new guests. And yeah, it's really fun. Yeah. But everybody on this panel. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for helping me plug my stuff, Sarah.
Mark, what are you up to, and where can you be found?
The easiest place to find me is on Twitter. I'm at Manruss, MANRUSS. I'm also on Instagram, but that's really only useful if you want to see pictures of my cats and trees. I'm mostly active on Twitter. And right now I'm working on a Fantastic Four story, a Fantastic Four life story, the first issue of which drops in May. And I'm also doing for DC Superman versus Imperious Lex with my Billionaire Island artist, Steve Pugh, who I also did the Flintstones with. And that issue 2 just came out last week.
Great. Okay, that brings us back to the, I guess, the suits at Ahoy. So I'll go first on that. I have a novel in the Marvel Crisis Protocol universe coming out in July from Aconite Books. It's the biggest, craziest thing I've ever written, featuring the Avengers and the Guardians of the Galaxy. I have a sword and sorcery story in a terrific anthology called Thrilling Adventure Yarns 2021, which should be out right about now from Crazy 8 Press. And at Ahoy, my short story Fire appears in Happy Hour number 5, which should also be out right about now, I think. And you can learn more at my website, stuartmoorewriter.com, and I'm Stuart Moore 1 at Facebook and Twitter, and I think Stuart Moore 01 for some reason on Instagram. I don't know why. Anyway, Sarah, what about you? What are you up to?
Let's see. What do I have? Oh, the follow-up to Black is out in stores. The issues start coming out, I think, in April. They were just announced in February, so you should read that. And let's see, you can find me on pretty much all social media at Sarah Starlit, just my name. And yeah, and soon you'll see even more detail for Blacksmith, which will be really exciting, which I'm definitely excited in all of Liana's covers and some secret covers. And I should add that White is, it's not part of AHOY, but we have Jamal Eigel and Juan Castro doing interiors. So, I mean,
And
what
White
else
is
do you
Devil's
want?
Die just came out. Yeah.
Oh, and Devil's Die just came out, which Liana, which was the first book that Liana and I worked on. So she did the interiors for that, which is gorgeous. So those are Black Mask. You can pick them up.
And, I'm sorry, what's the title of that one again?
Devil's
Got it.
Die.
Just went by fast.
You do too many.
Sorry. Yeah, so Devil's Die and White, which are part of the Black Superpowers universe.
Got it.
Blacksmith, which is not related, just coincidentally titled. And you know, I try to stick to color theory. That's sort of my whole thing.
Fair enough. That brings us back to Tom.
Yeah, well, we've got Happy Hour and Second coming out monthly now. And as far as my writing goes, we've got The Wrong Earth, Night and Day. And I have a story in the next issue of Edgar Allan Poe's Snifter of Blood, in which Alan Robinson and I take one of Poe's just brilliant, most subtle stories and timely right now, Mask of the Red Death, and we just make it as stupid as we can. So check it out and let us know if we could have made it stupider, because I'll be upset if we could have. And you can reach me, you can see me at Tom Peyer on Twitter, where I spend many, many hours. And AHOY Comic Mags is our Twitter account, AHOY Comic Mags. And we have a website, comicsahoy.com, which is nice. And Stuart puts up a short story every week from the back of one of our books that you can read for free.
That is great. That was actually the very last thing I had on my notes to promote, so I don't have to now. That's great. Yeah, there's a nice backlog of those extra short stories up there on the website, including work by Mark and Grant Morrison and a lot of other people. There's one of the recipes from Ash and Thorn is up there. It's just a nice little selection of material, and it's all free. It's all up there. So cool. Well, thank you guys. This was a you know, doing this is fun. It's particularly great to do it with people I haven't had a lot of connection with in the past, like Liana and Eric. It's not quite the same as a convention, and hopefully we will get back to that soon. But I think for now, it is really nice just to get together and swap ideas and throw things around. So.
This is my first WonderCon.
Mine
Same.
too.
Me too.
Is it always like this?